3, 2, 1, go.
This is the secret compartment. I'm here today for the very first time with Ollie.
Loser. This is the second time.
Yeah, this is the second time.
episode.
You weren't there for the first one. And the first one isn't going to be uploaded until maybe our last episode because it's just too terrible.
Okay, so this is Secret Compartments, and Nathan is a loser.
That's the intro. Hey, big move. Oh wait, should we say who's who? Because we don't have the first one.
Oh yeah, so I'm Ollie.
I'm Mack.
Whoa, you guys are doing this way too wonky.
That's Nathan.
That's the whole point. Yeah, that's Nathan. Henry? That's Henry.
No, we're redoing that.
No, which one are you asking? 6.1?
6.6.
Oh, 6.6.
Train wreck.
You're a train wreck. Welcome to
My first impressions of myself. I hate myself, so that's actually my second impressions of all the impressions after that too.
Ooh.
Let's see, my first impressions of Mack, I thought, ooh, that's really edgy that she goes by Mack. I think I really like her. And then we became best friends in 2 seconds.
It's really
my first
eggy.
impressions of Nathan, I thought, wow, this guy is really weird. And that's my continued impressions of him.
Nice.
My first impressions of Henry, I thought,
The X-intercept.
wow, I really like this guy because he's quiet, and one time he let me braid his hair. So that was pretty cool. I like Henry.
Cool, you're gonna have to redo all of that.
Nope. My first impressions, I don't know why specifically. I tell you this multiple times, but I still remember Ollie, the first day of school, you were in my class, and now you're not because you hate me.
I do.
But,
that's true. What about number 5?
Number 5. Oh, I opened up another tab.
What?
Okay. The first day of school, you were in my, I keep saying she like I'm actually talking to it, but I'm just gonna keep talking.
I'm the third person.
You were in my Spanish 3 class before you moved out, and you dropped your phone and it fell under my chair, and I said, oh, I'm sorry, and you were like, why did you say you're sorry? Like, that's not your problem. And I was just so flustered because it was my first day of school. I was just like, the entire day, I was like, I'm the worst, most awkward human being in the entire world. No one's gonna want to be my friend. But you know, here we are.
Okay, you're gonna have to repeat what you just said now.
Nope, I'm not.
We're
My first
we're not keeping
impressions
that
of
little
Nathan,
intro.
the first thing I remembered of Nathan was
What
him
about
talking
number
about
6?
he made his cooking club, and I was like, man, that guy's kind of weird. I was like, I bet he's going to talk about it, and then he's never actually going to do it, but then you actually did it, so you're cool. And you're my
But he
friend.
only kind of half did it, so.
No, he did it.
No, I didn't.
Well, but
It's just nobody takes the club seriously. That's not my fault.
Well, when, what's his face was there, he made it, people take it seriously, and also
Who?
Ollie wasn't there.
who?
Johnny
Who the heck is Johnny?
Sharp.
That,
Mr.
that
Sarlo keeps calling him
means-
Johnny Shark, and I keep thinking that that's his real name, and it's not.
What's 4 plus
Jonathan.
3?
4 plus 3 is 7. Henry, I thought that he would I was like, maybe he'll never talk, and then he did, and I was like, hey, this guy's pretty cool, and he's pretty funny. And that's my impression of
Never
him.
thought he talked, but then he did, and I was like, whoa.
What's
like,
7
wow.
cubed, somebody?
Well, what's 7 times 49? 300.
Why would somebody know that? Nathan, what's yours?
Okay, well, first of all, not gonna lie, that was pretty rough.
Doesn't matter. Full point.
All right,
Well, it's
Henry,
not a
first
one.
impressions of us.
I think like Nathan was the person I knew first. I like saw him a few times in 8th grade, I think, but I never really talked to him. And then I like we were on a band trip and I talked to him one time on the bus and I was like, oh, he's kind of cool. And then it turns out I hate him. And then the next person I met was Ollie, and she joined our yearbook group, and I was like, oh, she's kind of nice. And then there was a whole bunch of drama, and I was like, I don't care about anything anymore. And then I just kind of saw Mack one day, and I was like, oh, she's nice. That was it.
Cool. Henry, you're gonna have to say that again. 'Cause we're gonna have to do the entire podcast over.
Nope. Nathan, this is your only chance to tell us your first impressions, or else I'm cutting you out of the podcast entirely.
Okay.
What are your first impressions? Go in order of who you met, like Henry did.
Okay. I first met Henry a very long time ago, around 6th, 7th grade.
1976.
I was not here in 6th or 7th grade.
8th grade.
Gross.
8th grade. Then. Listen,
Okay.
man, those 3 years are kind of a blur. So 8th grade, I met Henry. We talked a lot from time to time. Henry has a very bad memory.
This is true.
so we would talk a lot in separate friend groups, but ultimately it was kind of just like mutual friendship. And then you get to more recent years, last year and this year, where we had a little bit more talking over things like bands, because that gives a lot of opportunity for people to talk to one another, like on the bus, like you mentioned earlier. And then where we are now, which is slightly better.
Okay, so then you met me.
So then I met Ollie. I've seen Ollie around for a while. I thought she was a little hyper.
I have no idea where you got that impression from.
I thought she was a little hyper, but it was something that it'd be okay with. And then I finally got
You are an it.
something I'd be okay with. When did I say?
You said
not
it'd
say
be
it
okay
in that
with.
sentence.
It's recorded. I'm gonna play it 5 times over. No, I'm not. I don't want to edit that.
And so, and then I seen Ollie around. I didn't talk to her or anything, but people had mentioned her and stuff from other mutual friends.
Ew, really?
And then we get to now, the start of this year when I first had this class. I sat in over on the corner table for a while, and then I came into where we are now, which is a center table. And that's how I met Ollie and Henry. And then that's how we got into this group. And then Mack came along.
I was here from the start. I sat here before you sat here because I was like, Ollie is the one person I know because she was in my Spanish class earlier, so I'm going to sit over here with her. And she was like so nice. She's like, Mack, hi, I remember you. And I was like, thank goodness. I don't know where else I would sit.
Anyway, so then Matt was also here at this table, so I migrated from a corner table to this table. And therefore, when the switch of that table happened, we all had to be acquainted with each other. At first I thought Mac was pretty quiet and she didn't like talking a lot. But I, activated some very nice social skills and was able to get Mac to talk.
Just you.
And now we're like best friends, basically, so,
Basically.
Except for the part where you're not friends and Mac doesn't like you at all.
That's true. I hate everyone. I'm gonna put this here. Please don't mess with my phone or steal it. I will kick you in your shin. That's your shin. Okay, that was my only topic of conversation, and you're welcome.
Oh, Valentine's Day is coming up.
Oh, it is. I'm gonna buy you
We
chocolates.
actually have some love triangle type stuff happening here.
No, we're not talking about that.
Nathan and Henry.
We're not.
So
No,
here's
it's
the thing: we live in the greater area, and there is a known insurance agency known as Thomas J. Henry. The thing is that despite being in a relationship with Mac, or rather, despite Mac being in a relationship with me, she still sees Thomas J. Henry on the side.
I saw him on a billboard yesterday. I'll admit to you, but I had no feelings at all.
So he's a side of
She seems
No,
to
no,
think
no.
that just because there are no feelings involved, that it's not cheating. But
I broke it off with him. I told him specifically, I'm going out with Ollie and I can't see you anymore. And I'm sorry it has to end this way, but it has to because Ollie's the love of my life and I can't risk that.
Your insurance
sure.
claim is going to go through the roof.
I'm pretty sure she's lying. Also, Henry is in love with Nathan.
And I am a straight man, so
And Nathan is...
Love is a pretty strong word. I don't love him. I just want to be with him every moment of my life. And when I die, I want to be buried right next to him so we can always be together for the rest of forever. And I want our bodies to be preserved so that we never decompose and we're just stuck together forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And if he goes to heaven and I go to hell, then I will go down to hell just to be with him.
So that was pretty intense. I don't agree with any of those statements.
You can't disagree with his emotions. That's
I disagree with his emotions. He should not feel them. Therefore, he's wrong. I am a man of many, many talents and many strengths. However, my one weakness
Is Henry.
Is that you?
is not Henry. It's not Henry.
It's that you just won't allow yourself to love Henry. Like you really do, but you just can't.
So here's the thing. So you obviously just heard all the tea about me and Mac, and with Nathan. Obviously Henry is in love with Nathan, and Nathan was also in love with Henry. But it's a very Simon and Baz from Carry On situation here, where Nathan still thinks he's in love with a girl who we're gonna call Susan, and so Nathan still thinks he's in love with Susan, even though Susan is way too cool for him and way too pretty for him, and they're never ever gonna get together. And Nathan really, in his heart, is actually in love with Henry, but he just feels bad about that, so he pretends to be in love with Susan, despite the fact he's even convinced himself, but the rest of us know it isn't true, and actually he's in love with Henry.
Fortunately, the case is this. It's a running joke that's been going on for a while, and I very hate it very deeply.
I very hate it.
He very hates it.
I very hate it.
It's just that Nathan has some internalized homophobia and also Henry phobia.
Not homophobic.
So that's actually the issue, is that he's just Henry phobic. He is love phobic. He doesn't believe in love. I've actually caught him before in the past. I've walked into rooms and he's just sitting in the dark in the center of the room, chanting quietly, whispering to himself, "What is love? What is love? What is love? Baby, don't hurt me." And it's actually really terrifying. You can't see Nathan, but he looks like a baby chipmunk who someone gave facial hair. And so he's just
supposed to be about real life things.
so it's very sad. It's very sad that he
I just think we're supposed to be talking about
that he feels like he should still be with Susan.
No, this is a bit.
No.
That he still feels like he should be.
Not what people want to hear.
He still feels like
This
he
is a
should be
very
with
terrible
Susan,
and cringy bit.
even though his heart is telling him to be with Henry. It's very sad. It's an issue I think a lot of people go through, wanting to be with Henry. He's actually just completely irresistible. All right, let's all talk about podcasts. So I actually have been listening to podcasts for a couple of years now. Started with Welcome to Night Vale, which if you've not heard Welcome to Night Vale, it's very good. It's by Night Vale Presents and PRX, and you should absolutely listen to it. Cecil Baldwin's voice is wonderful. It's absolutely amazing. And then I started listening to Conversations with People Who Hate Me by Dylan Marin, also by Night Vale Presents and PRX. And then Alice Isn't Dead, Small Town Horror, the Penumbra podcast, highly recommend. Wolf 359, highly recommend.
I don't recommend people other podcasts. They should be listening to
Yeah.
our
Kaleidotrope.
I recommend to you, the Secret Compartment.
Kaleidotrope, very good. Definitely listen to Kaleidotrope. Yeah, and then I listen to a lot of horror podcasts. We're actually going to be presenting a horror podcast. I did.
We should have like a
We're going to be
Halloween
presenting.
horror episode.
We're going to have a Halloween horror episode when I come back
We should have
from
a special.
college.
Oh, oof.
There.
Don't say that. We should have a special Valentine's Day episode where we just spill all of our worst love romance details.
Oh, that's not fun for me, Mac.
I want to do that. I want to be embarrassed.
That's very angry.
But I don't really listen to people talking. I listen to a lot of true crime, and I listen to a lot of stories being told. But Mack actually listens to podcasts more like this one, so she's going to talk about that now.
Oh, yeah. I listen. Well, okay, the one that I listen to the most, two is probably either Ear Biscuits or Trash Goblin podcast, and both of them are, well, one of them's a bit more structured, so they'll pick a topic and then they're best friends and they'll talk about it, blah, 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 for an hour, and then they're like, okay, turning it off now because it's been an hour. The other one is they don't really pick a topic and they just kind of talk for an hour, and it's mostly like bits, like Nathan said, but I think they're funny, so I listen to them. And that's what I have to say about that.
Nathan, what is your history with
Give me this. I need it. Okay. Here's a thing. Podcasts are stupid. I hate them. All of them. Any of them. They're a waste of time. You shouldn't listen to them. Any of them.
Why are you?
Including this one.
Thanks for the input, Henry.
No problem.
Okay. I don't listen to podcasts.
That's true. I've got
I don't listen to many podcasts.
What do you listen to?
I listen to a lot of music and
Podcast-wise.
podcast-wise.
Yeah,
I think the only podcast I listen to is probably Ryan Higa's Popping the Pill, I think it's called.
I have seen one. I think I've seen a Ryan. Is he Asian?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does he have a video called about hurt people?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've seen that one, and also once upon a time, a YouTuber named Dan is Not on Fire, now known as Daniel Howell, added him in a video called it was, I don't know what it was called, but it was his self burn video, and he added Ryan Higa. Roast Yourself challenge. Yes, he tagged Ryan Higa in it.
Yeah, that's probably the only podcast I have.
I wonder if there's anybody in this class that just like sits and listens to what we talk about. That'd be kind of weird, but like also, I don't blame them.
Anybody actually cares about us.
Connor,
That's true. Not even the people who listen to this, which will be fat 0 people.
actually, I'm not that fat, and I am one person. So
You're right.
please don't ever speak to me like that again.
Maybe my friend will listen to it. I'll just be like, hey friend, listen to this. She'll be like, okay. And then it'll be like an hour long. She'll be like 5 minutes later, wow, that was really good.
That's what I do. I will, if someone says listen to a song, but I don't really want to listen to that song, or I don't want to listen to it right now, I'll skip 3/4 of the way through the song, choose a lyric, copy the write down that lyric, and then 8 minutes, I'll set a timer for 8 minutes, and 8 minutes later I'll text someone and say, I'll put quotes around those words of the song and say, wow, that part was really good.
That part just really warmed my heart. Now if you ever do that to me, I'll just already know. I'm like, Ollie, listen.
Oh, we could use SoundCloud.
Be a SoundCloud rapper?
Like that, but podcasts.
Oh, like that, but like not like that at all.
That's exactly it.
I'm gonna kick your knee in.
What?
Fun fact about me, sometimes when I'm trying to think about a word in Spanish, I'll think about it in sign language, and then when I'm trying to think of a word in sign language, I'll think of it in Spanish.
Yeah, so fun fact about me, sometimes when I'm writing things, I don't want to spell stuff out. So my brain goes, oh, just, instead of spelling it out, just sign it. But then I forget that can't be transferred to paper. Also, sometimes I dream in Spanish, which is really weird because I don't know enough Spanish to dream in Spanish, but it happens sometimes, so.
I probably dreamt in Spanish like twice.
My mom dreams in Spanish, and she also dreams in black and white.
Sometimes I dream black. I don't think I've ever thought about that.
I've never thought about it. Really.
Let's look it up. What does it mean if you dream in black and white?
What does it mean?
I just had to search. What does
I'm gonna
it
Google.
mean
I dream in
if
Spanish,
you dream in
but I don't know Spanish.
black and white? But I don't know it. In dreams. What? Having a dream in black and white can also mean that you are thinking of a situation in terms of absolutes.
Okay, let's talk to psychology.
That's too vague for me to understand. What the heck are you talking about? Henry, say your outro.
Bye.
I love you. Thanks. Love you. Or no, what did she say?
Wait, she says, love you, mean it, bye.
Yeah.
There we go. Love you, mean it, bye.